Welcome to this ceremony to celebrate, as you know, the placement of the final piece of structural steel in the construction of the RWJBarnabas Health Athletic Performance Center at Rutgers. I'd like to welcome first our elected officials, and gentlemen, with my apologies, I'm going to ask you to stand so that we can all recognize you. Senator Kane, former Senator Lesniak, Mayor Waller, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking them for their service to their constituents and their friendship to Rutgers. I see donors in the audience. Thank you. Bless you. Come often to these events, please. I see much of the senior staff here. I don't know how one got a pass to not attend today. Chancellor, welcome. Mr. Athletic Director, Madam Senior Vice President. Is Brian Strom here? Brian's maybe not here. Anyway, if I've missed any elected officials, I heartily apologize. The center immediately behind me will anchor a new Livingston campus quadrangle. Will serve as a vibrant new destination and support what our athletic director calls correctly a championship culture. It will have 307,000 square feet. It will be 4 stories tall with a parking deck. It will be completed in the summer of 2019, right, Pat? Thank you, Perkins Eastman, for your design and architectural services. Thank you, Epic Management, for your general contracting services. What we're creating here is a comprehensive sports medicine program to serve not only Rutgers athletes, but students and also communities throughout New Jersey. We will provide a state-of-the-art practice facilities, training areas, locker room, office space for men's and women's basketball, wrestling, and gymnastics. We'll also house in this structure a nutrition cafe, a Hall of Fame lobby, and a spirit store that will be open to the public. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the 20th president of Rutgers University, a man whom in this crowd needs no introduction, my friend Bob Barchi. He's been president for 6 years, as you know. We're hoping he doesn't go anywhere anytime soon. He's overseen the largest merger in the history of American higher education, and he's put Rutgers on firm financial footing. He's completed our first billion-dollar campaign ever. That's one down and several more to go. And he's put us on a new trajectory in private fundraising. Thank you, Nevin. He's led the way in rebuilding Rutgers with more than $2 billion in new construction projects across the university. And when I say he's led the way in construction projects, those of you who know him well know that he's a bit of an architect himself, and he's hands-on with all of this stuff. And he's making sure that we don't just play in the Big Ten, but that we belong in the Big Ten. Today represents another positive step in that direction. I'm going to go off script a little bit. There would be no RBHS without Bob. There would be no Honors College without Bob. There would be no access to the Big Ten Research Consortium without Bob. And without him, we would not be on our way to being a university that ranks with Wisconsin and Michigan and Cal Berkeley and the other top publics across the United States of America. And athletics, along with RBHS and some others, are the main engine is going to pull to get us there. Ladies and gentlemen, President Dr. Robert Barchi.
Well, that was the longest introduction I've had in a long time. Something must be wanted. I can't wait to meet with the board the next time. I must not be doing something that they want me to do. But look, it is a great pleasure for me to be here, and I'm just delighted to be able to join our supporters and our donors to make this possible. I know that Ron Grudy is here with his lovely wife, and I've made a concession to Ron that this time I'm not coming in my blue suit. coming in my plaids, dressing down for sports. So that's what we're doing here today. This is really very exciting for me. You know, I love to sign diplomas, I love to sign contracts, but most of all, I love to sign steel. And this, to me, is one of the signature things that we have been trying to accomplish, that in fact is not that easy to do. It's taken the partnerships that we put together with our legislators, the partnerships we put together with our friends to make this happen. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Pat Hobbs and I were out at the headquarters for the Big Ten this weekend for our athletic directors meeting and for the meeting of the Big Ten presidents and chancellors board. I know that Deba Duda is here today, who shares my responsibilities in that area and supports everything that's going on here in athletics. The one thing that makes very, very clear when you're sitting around this small table with 14 other people, 13 other people, is the level of competition that we're talking about here. This is not Bush League. This is the very best competition in the country. We're talking about, in virtually every sport, teams that wind up in the top 5, top 10 in the nation that we're playing, that we're wrestling against, that we're playing basketball against, that we're playing football against, all the way down the line. So our seasons don't represent what they used to. There are no gimmies here. And as time goes on, we're being asked to play more and more of our games in the Big Ten and fewer out of league. So the cushion gets smaller and smaller. But this is really big time. Now, we're very competitive as far as I'm concerned. The Big Ten is not just sports, it's academics. And I'm delighted to say that out of our 600 plus athletes, 248 this year were named academic all Big Tens, which I think is really something that we should be proud of. We also recognize that in many of our Olympic sports, we are already competing in the finals of the Big Ten. We're there. We're the competition. We intend to get there in basketball, football as well, but we recognize that we're now competing against the very best. We need to have the best facilities to bring in those student athletes, to make them decide to come here, and when they come here, to make them successful. And this, I think, is a great step. This RWJBarnabas Athletics Performance Center, especially for our basketball and our wrestling and our gymnastics and the other teams that will be practicing and making their home base in this facility. It's a great way to bring people here. It's a great way to move their careers along once they're here. So I was talking about partners before. You really can't do this without partners, especially difficult in sports facilities. And I have to speak first to Senators Ray Lesniak and Tom Kaine, who are both here and were both instrumental in acquiring tax credits for Rutgers that went a long way to making this building possible. Could not have happened without them. So you guys, again, our great appreciation for that and our thanks for making that happen. And second, for the many donors who are here. Again, I can't possibly name you all, from individual offices to floors to major parts of the facilities. Again, putting together the financial package that allowed this building to go forward, to make it possible for this to happen. And finally, you got to have the right partners on the global level too. And we have, in order to make this happen, we have a fantastic partnership with RWJBarnabas, who has their name on the building, has put their clinical reputation in the building by providing the clinical care for sports medicine. They're the ones that are doing it, providing the very best care for our athletes across all of our teams, and providing financial support outside of that to make this happen. And working with Barry Ostrowski, and I know Jack Morris, the chairman of the board, is here as well. This is a great day for our partnership. It's a partnership that we intend to grow bigger and deeper over the coming months. As you know, this is just the first step, but again, we could not have gotten here without it. So I'm just delighted to be here. I'm looking forward to putting another name on a beam here and getting it up on top, but more than that, I'm looking forward to seeing this puppy done, and it'll be done next summer. Thank you very much.
So Barry Ostrowski joined an organization that had the name Barnabas in it in the early 1990s, after first having a successful career culminating in being a senior partner at the eminent law firm of Brack Eichler. He has done what's hard to do. He did the segue from being a lawyer to being a client, and he's done it remarkably well. The name on the door of his organization has changed a few times. It's grown dramatically, and Barry's grown dramatically with it, and he's now the CEO of the RWJ Health System. As you all know, and it's always a mistake to spike the ball on the 1-yard line, we are very close to formalizing our partnership with RWJBarnabas Health. And Barry, we know that you'll remember that you were a member of the Board of Overseers at Rutgers. We know you'll remember that you were a member of the class of 1972 at Rutgers College. And we know that this partnership is gonna happen. I met Barry Ostrowski when he was 18 years of age. I too was 18 years of age, and in those days I was right about almost nothing. I got one thing right. Barry struck me from the very beginning as somebody who was wise beyond his years, as somebody of good judgment, as somebody of patience, somebody of leadership, and as somebody who was destined to do great things. I got basically everything else wrong in my life when I was 18 years of age, but that I got right. Barry's arguably the most successful member of our class. We pledged the same fraternity. We lived together on the 7th floor of Clothier Hall way back when, nearly 50 years ago. And we both had full heads of hair. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to thank Barry for what he and his organization have done, and to welcome him to this podium.
I don't remember Engelson being that sweet. Mark, thank you for that overly benevolent introduction. I don't know that you got it right back then, and I'd like to think I can even live up to a percentage of what you just said. Clearly, to the extent I was the most successful man in our class, I was at least number 2 to you, and I appreciate it. Your leadership here at our great alma mater is outstanding, and that's really what draws us together today. We are a fortunate organization that is pursuing a mission to make the people of New Jersey live happier, healthier lives. Rutgers University is an internationally renowned educational institution that has research that frankly is felt around the world. It was only natural that our two organizations would come together and form the kind of relationship to which Mark referred, in which we can help one another make life not only for those in New Jersey better, but lives around the country better as we become a destination for great health care and great social programs. The leadership of Rutgers has been incredibly supportive, and I thank you, Dr. Barchi, for your leadership. What we're creating, I know, will be something that will allow us to be even more prideful in the great institution of Rutgers University. Last week I toured the athletic facilities. I used to come up this way when I was a freshman at 8 o'clock Monday mornings for a geography lab, and it was in a wooden barracks, which was about the only building that was up here. If we had these kinds of facilities, I could have been a contender. I really could have been. I met with our internationally renowned hammer thrower, which is a bit of a pursuit that I had when I was here. And thankfully, I don't have to compete against him or any people like him. But it was amazing sharing our thoughts about how this university has evolved over that time and has insisted on making investments not simply in athletics, but in athletes who are not only oriented to great performances in their sports, but in fact are committed to successful academic careers and beyond that, great business careers. We want to be part of it. Our organization wanted to be a partner of Rutgers, and so the Athletic Performance Center, in which we've made an investment, is an investment in the athletic side of the equation. We have today Yvette Rooks, our head of sports medicine, who is doing a spectacular job, and in her new home will be able to expand that program. We have the chairman of our board, Jack Morris, whose insight and commitment to our mission and that of Rutgers is in fact incalculable in terms of his leadership. And so investing in athletics and investing in academics and investing in research is really the formula that we see that will continue to uplift all of our feelings towards this great university and make it what it has been, but make it more obvious, a great institution serving, frankly, humanity, not to be hyperbolic about it, but humanity and particularly the communities that are around here. So it's my pleasure to participate. I represent 33,000 employees at RWJBarnabas Health, and I hope you all will share with me the great pride in that which we're signifying today by signing this beam and knowing a year from now we'll be on the verge of the official opening of this great athletic performance center. Thank you all very much for your support, and I look forward to working with you.
I should have said one more thing about Bob and Barry, and that is that when they formally sign our partnership agreement, they will create one of the top 10 academic medical systems in the United States of America. Not just number one in New Jersey, top 10 in America, and that's 10 and counting toward number one. So bravo to you both. It now is my great pleasure to introduce Athletic Director Pat Hobbs, and that will be my last duty of the day. I'm happy to report to you all. Pat Hobbs is the biggest risk that Bob Barchi took in building an impeccable senior management team at Rutgers. Barchi's greatest strength, as it turns out, is not architecture. That's up there, but it's not architecture. It's actually people picking, and he's done it spectacularly well. Pat Hobbs was the dean of Seton Hall Law School when, and maybe he was even on sabbatical from that, when Bob hired him to be athletic director. And here's how it's worked out. In addition to spearheading the Our Big Ten build campaign to make the RWJBarnabas Health Athletic Performance Center possible, Pat helped secure the largest gift in Rutgers athletic history, $15 million for the Gary and Barbara Rotkin Center for Academic Success. Facilities that have risen under Pat's leadership with privately raised funds include the Marco Battaglia football. Marco, where are you? There he is. The Marco Battaglia football practice facility. Thank you for joining me in acknowledging Marco. The Fred Hill Training Complex. The Garudi Strength and Conditioning Center. Ron and John, stand up for a second and be recognized for what you've done. God bless. Keep it coming. The Dreskin Strength and Conditioning Center, as well as the Suidam men's basketball locker room. Student athletes have continually excelled athletically, academically, and in the community under Pat's leadership. This season, Rutgers had 4 programs: wrestling, men's lacrosse, women's soccer, and field hockey, nationally ranked in the final coaches polls, and 40 Scarlet Knights earned all Big Ten honors. As Bob mentioned earlier, school record 248 student athletes earn academic all Big Ten recognition. And in between their athletic and academic achievements, Rutgers student athletes thanks to Pat, made 159 community appearances in 2017-2018 and performed 5,176 hours of community service. Ladies and gentlemen, our athletic director, Pat Hobbs.
Thanks, Mark. Mark, clearly you did not grow up in the world of social media, because I can already suspect that tweeted out somewhere in the last 10 seconds was Pat Hobbs labeled Bob Barczy's greatest risk. So I know we got our guys here, our press guys. I'm glad they're here. So you got to be careful what happens in that social media world. Let's hope I don't turn out to be Bob Barczy's greatest risk. You know, I woke up this morning, I looked at my phone, it said 100% chance of rain. I said, can't happen. But the sun is shining on Rutgers today. And I'm sitting down there, and actually I'm thinking that the greatest risk is the fact that each of us coming up here doesn't have a hard hat on, because I keep watching this ball go by. And sometimes it's getting really close overhead. But fortunately, the guys from Epic know what they're doing, so we're all very, very safe over here. This is a special day for Rutgers. It is a day that we talk about. When I came here, I said, you know, we're going to be about championships. Steve Peichel has those shelves in his office that he put up, right? One for our first Big Ten championship, one for a Final Four, and then one for when we win an NCAA championship. And we don't just say that. We believe that. It's going to take time. It takes building. It takes building programs. It takes bringing in recruits. It's another reason why I got up today. I put on my, you can't see them, but you see them later. I got NCAA championship socks on, all right, because that's what this is about, building winners, all right? And it takes doing things across the board. It takes doing them with great partners, and our partners have been mentioned. But I do want to just say a quick thank yous, and some of them are going to be echo thank yous, but they're really important. Of course, I start with Dr. Barczy and Chancellor Dutta. All right, if you don't have the support of the administration at the top of your university, you cannot be successful in athletics. All right, it is an absolute must, and their support, not just in what we're doing here, but what we're doing in building our programs, is essential, so I thank them. I thank Senator Lesniak and Senator Kane as well. Critically important. I mean, these are passionate people about New Jersey, but they're passionate about Rutgers, and they know what a first-class top Big Ten program can do for Rutgers athletics. So appreciate their support. This would not be going up right now. This would not be going up but for Barry Ostrovsky and our RWJBarnabas partners, Jack Kraft, Jack Morris rather, and Milton Anderson. Tom Big is not here. There is one person I do want to mention in particular on the Barnabas team, and I'm going to ask you to stand up. Justin Edelman, please stand up. I think I used to be a lawyer, so we used to get paid by the billable hour. If you got paid by the billable hour, the work that you did on this building and this partnership would have been your biggest client this year. There's no question about it. And the other person who did that, I want to mention some of my other staff, but the other person who put all those hours in with Justin and is my deputy, of course, is Sarah Baumgartner. Right now, she's not here today, but I think she's watching on Facebook Live because she's home building two children, right? So she had her twins. So we're building buildings. She's building new kids. So somewhere on that camera, right, is they're doing the Facebook. So everybody quickly turn around and say, "Hey, Sarah," all right? Hey, Sarah! All right. Epic Construction, John Epifano, Joe Lazat, and Don LaFonte, I know we're here. Thank you. What you're doing, and through some pretty bad weather, you've stayed on schedule. We are talking about opening this next July. We've promised that to our coaches. Cannot thank you enough. Our owners rep, KMS Development, Bob McCulley, thank you. Bob Reed as well is here. I got to thank our facilities group. They are fantastic. They work behind the scenes. Obviously, they're led by Tony Calcato, but John Shulak is here. Dave Schultz has worked. Nick Fabroni's here. Georgia Kerfides is here. Bob Hoffman, our project manager. I got to talk about them because we spent a lot of hours together working on designs. Right now we're working on the Rodkin Center, and if you don't have really talented people, your budgets are tough and you're trying to work through that stuff. Really, really important. We mentioned our partners at Perkins Eastman, Scott Schomburg and his whole group. Phenomenal people, and I thank them for all that they do. All right, I talked about Sarah, but I also want to shout out to my entire team. I think we've cracked over the $95 million mark in total public and private support, and we're hoping to push that as close as we can get to the $100 million mark by the end of this fiscal year. That happens with a really dedicated, hard-working team. So how about a big round of applause for all those folks that I mentioned? And I talk about the importance of RWJBarnabas' gift, all right? There are a lot of donors here, all right? A lot of people that have given a lot of their resources to make these things happen, to make sure that things are different this time. Somebody mentioned to me earlier that Rutgers was previously known for a lot of building feasibility studies, lots of architectural plans that never get acted on. The only way they get acted on is by people giving and being generous. And so I thank you to our donors. I thank you for what you've done. I thank many people who are going to be supporting us in the future. We can't stop. You got to keep building, whether it's annual support, whether it's capital support. We need to keep building. As Bob said, we were sitting around the table with programs Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin. All right, they open a new building every other year. They've been doing that for a while. All right, they know we're coming. All right, and I could see it. I could see, you know, it's funny, we had a whole thing about scheduling, and everybody in the West wanted to play Rutgers. And I said, you're not going to always want to play Rutgers. We're coming, and we're going to do that in all of our programs. So now let me just talk briefly about our coaches and our students, because that's really who you do this for. When I arrived here 29 months ago, I had not seen any of the facilities, and as Mark mentioned, I'd been on sabbatical. I got the call, sat down with Bob, and I was offered the job. And right away, I was given the task of going out and hiring a new football coach. And so I did not see a single facility until after I hired Chris Ash. And it was pretty quick that you could, as you walked around, you saw what was there, that was going to have to be the focus. We're going to have to build facilities, and the first one is always the most important, right? You know, our strength and conditioning area, all those things that we did were really, really important demonstrations of our commitment to success. But this building really tells people, and I was at the Big Ten conference, and the steel was already going up, and a guy came up to me, shook my hand, he said, "Thank you for everything you're doing. But is that building really going to go up?" And I had a head shaker because it was already coming out of the ground. So that's some of the mindset that we've had to combat is it really going to happen? It's happening, and it's happening for our coaches. You know, we were upstairs before, and Scott Goodale was looking in at the video, right? So up here on the top floor's up there, right? And you can see it. If you look hard enough, you can see it. You're going to see our men's and women's basketball programs running up and down those courts. 3 basketball courts for our program. It's the largest in the Big Ten, right? It's going to be the best space in the Big Ten, right? If you come down here and you look over here, those are our wrestling rooms, right? And then right over here, right? Where's Umi? Where's our coach? Where's our new Umi? Stand up. This is our new gymnastics coach, Umi Salim Beasley, right? So right over in here, right, that's where our gymnastics area is going to be. So if you look at that building, if it was all glass, a year from now, you're going to see a couple hundred athletes in there building their bodies, developing their strength, their game, and it is going to be an absolute game changer, not just for these programs in the building, but for all of our student athletes, because we're also going to have and provide best-in-class sports medicine. You know, we mentioned Dr. Rooks. The difference that she has made in what we're doing already is unbelievable. She's even fixing my back for golf, which is really good because it's in bad shape. And Barry just asked me when we were ready to go out and play, wants to take some money from me. I'm trying to take more money from you, Barry. So our coaches, I'm going to ask the rest of them to stand. Steve Peichel, stand up. Steve Peichel, where are you? All right. C. Vivian Stringer, Hall of Fame coach, right? And Scotty Goodale, where's Scotty? You ask them, what does this mean? And it's already had that impact. We're already getting students who are committing to Rutgers who previously, frankly, didn't really look at Rutgers. but they know what our commitment is. They know we're going to be successful. They know we intend to build sustained excellence and a championship culture, and that's what it's about, right? And so when these kids come on campus for recruiting, and listen, they're already doing it. You go into any of these coaches' offices, you got renderings everywhere, right? They've been selling this for over a year. And so I had to make sure this thing happened, because we're going to get a lot of kids who would come on campus and go, where's that building you showed me? Well, they're sitting here, right? So I'm going to introduce one of them now, Miles Johnson, who comes from Long Beach, California. And I met Miles a year and 3 months ago. He came on campus with your parents, and he was offered by a lot of schools. He could have gone anywhere. As a matter of fact, he was offered by 4 of the Ivy League schools. Miles was looking for a great coach, obviously, great coaching staff, folks that great teammates, all right? But he also wanted to know that the resources were going to be there. So that's why I went in and I sat and I talked about what we're building and the unique story that we can do together. When I say to all of our programs, all of our student athletes, we're going to write the greatest chapter in Rutgers athletics history together, and I firmly believe that. All right? And so Miles made that commitment. He came here to Rutgers. One of the attractions for Rutgers was great engineering program. Chancellor Dutta, you know that, right? Great engineering program. And I'm not violating FERPA, so Miles said I can do this. So again, this is engineering, right? So after a year in engineering, he's got a 3.5 GPA. Congratulations, Miles. I was asking him earlier, so what was your favorite class? Now, I'm a lawyer, and a bunch of us here are lawyers. This would not have been the class that we chose. He said, I love math lab. Math lab? Yeah, how about that, Randy, math lab? I have never loved math lab. I'm not saying anything against math lab, but again, it tells you a little bit about the quality of the kid that's looking at Rutgers, that's coming to Rutgers, and we've got some of our newest recruits that are here. Shaq Carter's here, Caleb's here, some of our returning guys, they're all here. So all our student athletes who are here, please stand up. Some of our golfers are here. So everyone here feel really, really good about this, right? The greatest speech that's being given right now is behind me. It's those cranes, it's those people that are walking along the steel up there, all right? They are writing the great story with us, all right? And they know it, they believe it, they come here with pride. It's really great. They know what that building is going to do. They know the difference it's going to make. All right, and it's going to make that difference for these student athletes. So with that, I'm going to invite up Miles Johnson. Come on up, Miles.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And first, I'd like to say, coming from California, I always get asked, why did I choose Rutgers? And it's the school across the continent, and sometimes it's very unforgiving weather. But for me, the answer to that question is it has the top 50 engineering program, and we compete in the Big Ten, and that's one of the top athletic conferences around. No other school that I ever talked to has a combination of both athletics and academics that Rutgers offers. Being a successful student as well as an athlete is very difficult. It's very difficult time management. However, since I've have the opportunity to live in the Livingston Apartments and the RAC being so close, the new facility that's being built, the RWJBarnabas Health Athletic Performance Center, is going to be great. I think I can see myself every day in this facility, shooting shots, getting rebounds, helping, getting better, performing for my team. The new facility will provide me, as well as all my other teammates, the top-notch medical care, sports medicine, and any other training or facilities that we'll need. We will have all the resources to be successful in our future years, and including this one. This facility is going to set us apart, attracting new recruits and basically making us better than any other big team out there. On behalf of every current Scarlet Knight and future, I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Barchi, Dr. Ostrowski, Mr. Hobbs for giving us this amazing facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Miles. All right, so now we're gonna complete the signing of this beam and get it up into the building. So I think some folks have been given some cards in terms of who's coming up to sign, right? So we'll get everybody assembled up here. Maggie, oh, by the way, Liz, wave your hand, Liz. Everybody give Liz a big hand of applause. She put this all together today. So we'll get the signing up here, and we'll take some pictures. And we thank you all for coming. It's a great day for Rutgers University.